Couldn't help it. I also saw its potential. After 36 years of the same Republican leaders, it's become a little comfortable, just a little like those old shoes that you have that get worn out, get holes. You wonder why your feet start to hurt. Well, let me tell you, right now it's time to elect a Democrat orthotic. So if you've ever been married, had a speech the interview, and you guys are the boss, you should consider a candidate with financial experience. The clerk serves on the election board and is directly responsible for your voting experience. You should know I support a paper ballot system that's optically read, it's counted, and easily audited. It's the only place in the office I want more paper. The clerk is also responsible for archives and preserving historical records. This should be a priority of any clerk because we currently risk losing most of our county's history if there were any disaster due to an inadequate backup system we have now. Why should you choose me? I've worked in voter registration, early voting, polls, and in the clerk's office as a deputy clerk. I have 35 years of management and leadership roles, and 20 of those are in Monroe County. I earned my master's degree the hard way. It took nearly 18,009 years of night classes at IU and distance learning while raising 2 children on my own and working 60 hours a week. I've developed and implemented budgets and fiscal controls for companies, one of which collected more in our first fiscal year than the previous 5 years added together. In 2008, I was lucky to be able to work in the grassroots organizations and followed up by working the election process. Immediately after I was involved with these, I was recruited to work in the clerk's office. And during the 13 months that I was there, I loved the people I worked with, I loved the people I served, and I became enamored with what the office stood for. And I couldn't help it. I also saw its potential. After 36 years of the same Republican leaders, it's become a little comfortable, just a little like those old shoes that you have that get worn out, get holes. You wonder why your feet start to hurt. Well, let me tell you, right now it's time to elect a Democrat orthotic. So if you've ever been married, had a speeding ticket, paid child support, filed for an adoption, or filed an estate, if you've ever been sued or been taken to, or divorced or been taken to small claims, then you have brushed the arm of the Monroe County Clerk. If you have ever voted, you have experienced the privilege provided by the Monroe County Clerk. Oh, wait. It's not a privilege. It's your right. Every citizen has the right to vote. In Indiana, it's very difficult even to register to vote. I was dismayed in the 2008 election how many people lost their right to vote just because they moved across town. Bloomington is specific. We have 2 districts. But people who live here think Bloomington is Bloomington. They don't think Congressional District 4 versus Congressional District 9. I think that as clerk, I will advocate with the State Association of Clerks to make voter registration and updating your voter registration just as easy as filling out your change of address form. It shouldn't be any more difficult from that. As clerk, I will also ensure that we have efficient and organized elections and make you feel secure that your vote is counted the way you intended for it to. You should know that I favor a new paper ballot system that's optically read, it's counted, and it's easily audited. And you should also know that voting is the only place I want more paper in the office. When you visit the clerk's office, I don't know if you help it notice, there's paper in volumes from the floor to the ceiling, wall to wall, and we've even made aisles from the paper. Every time I looked for the document I had to run my fingers through these old, delicate pages. If I had to make a copy, I took that volume, turned it upside down on the copier, and prayed that the binding didn't break. What you should know, and probably don't know, is that there are only a few of these documents that are microfilmed or digitally recorded, so that in case we had any kind of a fire or other disaster, we'd lose all those documents. It's very important we have something happen in that office to be able to digitize and have some backup for that. I think the clerk's office, as Mike had talked about earlier, is a wonderful example. They've set an example on how that can happen. In fact, a document that used to take 24 hours in the recorder's office now takes 24 seconds to retrieve. I think we can do that with the resources we have in the office and with the budget we have in the office. And you might ask, why vote for Linda Robbins? Well, let me tell you, I see the big picture. And let me tell you why. I have 35 years' experience in management and leadership roles. I earned my master's degree, and I earned it the hard way. I learned it through distance learning and classes at IU, while working 60-hour work weeks and raising 2 children of my own. And I'd have to say 9 years later and about $18,000 later, I finally earned my master's degree in healthcare administration. I hold certificates as a human resources generalist, a safety professional, and a medical practice manager. I've developed and implemented budgets and fiscal controls and seen companies through technical upgrades and conversions. And I love this community. I hope you vote for me May 4th, and thank you very much.